Hi there. I just want to say thank you so much for those that have subscribed to this channel. And if you haven't, I want to thank you in advance for your support. Thanks for watching and welcome. Yes, I promised you another video, and here I am to provide it for you. Caregiving, isn't it a blast? Yeah, I know. A lot of times when we are put into a position of caregiving, it was never planned, it was never on your to do list. You may have thought about it, but when you were actually placed into that position, it caught you off guard. It did for me. What's going on here? Anyway, um, man, all I can remember really distinctively is when I was in the thick of things, figuring out, because that's what happens. Something happens. Unfortunately, sometimes it can be catastrophic that causes you to react, to step up to the plate. Because a person that actually needs help in caregiving won't ever say, "Hey, I need help." It would be kind enough for you to know, but usually that's not it. You're thrown into the position of becoming a caregiver, an active caregiver. To what degree? Depends on what we're dealing with. I was dealing with mild cognitive impairment, dementia. My mom was never diagnosed with a specific type of dementia, such as Alzheimer's disease, Lewy body dementia, vascular dementia, frontal temporal dementia. These are all significant findings from a neurologist. And based on what it does to their brain, depicts their characteristics, how they manage through life, what they do. Sometimes they blurt out things. Sometimes they do things that are unacceptable in the public, or they just say things, or they, in Alzheimer's, which is the most popular care, most popular dementia, is forgetfulness, or their mind slowly dissipates and fades away. It's probably the hardest to actually witness somebody disappearing and their world disappearing. But I will say, for every single dementia that I'm aware of through my support group and hearing what they're going through, it's equally hard when someone starts yelling and screaming and is just literally unhinged because they don't know how to control their behavior. They don't understand what's happening, so they act out, or they'll say something, or they just stop talking. It's, I want to say it's weird, but that's because I don't understand everything that everybody is going through, but they do exist. So my point of having this video, and I'm not going to make it long because it all has to be, it's called about learning and being teachable, right? You want to be teachable so that you can get through this thing. So you know how to help your loved one. It's not to change your loved one, but really it's about changing you, the caregiver. I had to learn it the hard way. Why do I say that? Because I was the reluctant caregiver. I was the reluctant person to take care of my mom. And I say reluctant because, hey, it wasn't my time schedule. Look, I'm going to be real with you. I didn't mind taking care of my mom or my dad, who was not a dementia patient. But bottom line is he had to be taken care of. And when I took care of my dad, I had help. But taking care of my mom was a whole different story. Nobody was readily available. They were limited as to what they could help me with. And I was thrown into a situation based on head trauma that my mom, I realized she couldn't be alone. So I'm thrown into a situation where it's like, okay, you need help. Obviously, you can't be by yourself, but I don't understand. How come you're not acting normal. What is different? And a lot of times people don't know that their loved one is going through a sort of dementia. And you find yourself trying to trace back. Well, they were normal then. Well, they were normal then. Well, they don't do that anymore. So you start being a detective. I will be the first to tell you it's exhausting. Not only is it exhausting trying to figure out where your loved one is at, but to find out what your role is in this. My journey was a culmination of 9 years, but 24/7 care was 3.5 years up until my mom passed last year, June. And that entire time, I was adjusting, learning. I had teachable moments. But now that I look back on everything, I realize I was the one that had to change. Yes, your loved one is changing, but I was the one that had to change, and I had to adjust. Every time mom went to a different phase or a different scenario, I was the one that had to think, okay, look, I can't bring my mom into my life or my world because her world is changing. When her thought process and her mind is changing, I had to adjust to that. And I will be the first to admit, and I've said it in past videos, that I fought that because I was like, first of all, I don't want to be 24/7, but nobody's here to do it, so I have to do it. Number two, you're doing some unorthodox things that I'm not accustomed to. Things are changing, and I have to figure out why are they changing. But I kept trying to bring my mom into my world, the reality that we all know, instead of bringing it down and going to her world. And all it really did was create this butting of the heads. It made my mom frustrated. It made me frustrated. And then all this frustration and learning and all this stuff. I put this down, it's bugging me. All this stuff that we were going through was exhausting. It was exhausting for mom. I know it was exhausting for me. And after a while, you start to realize, why am I making this so hard? It doesn't have to be that way. Unfortunately, I figured it out the last year. Mom just was bedridden by that time. Mom had enough gumption in her. She wasn't really as bad as some of my fellow Careblazers. And I'll explain the Careblazer part in a bit. But some of them have been going through way worse things than I could ever go through. I know it sounds crazy, but it was kind of a blessing that my mom was bedridden because she wasn't a wanderer. She couldn't get out of bed. So you didn't have that window of opportunity of, oh my gosh, my loved one is walking out the door. They don't have the mental capacity to even know where they're at. And then you got to go running after them. Holy mackerel. I didn't have to go through that. Or where they think that you're stealing or you're a stranger in their house and they call the police on you. These are all real stories of what people go through. I didn't have to go through that. I praise God for that one. But still, to know what my fellow support group members were going through and not having to go through that, wow. My hat's off to all those people that go through that. So today's video is to kind of give an understanding of what's available to help you as a caregiver. There's many things that we could learn about caregiving. There's many things that we can learn and find teachable moments. For myself, I needed help desperately. I needed people to meet me where I was at. I needed people that understood that journey. I name it like uh, being in a war, a battle. I needed to find people in my trench that knew what trench I was fighting out of, what I was trying to overcome, people that understood where I was at. And I searched the internet for local places to go to. I just needed to meet like minded people. And I found it. Do not ask me how I found it, but I'm going to give God some credit on that one because I was directed to Careblazers, Dementia Careblazers. And, you know, the amazing thing about the Dementia Careblazers, it was headed up by Dr. Natali Edmonds. Dr. Natali Edmonds, and I talk about her a lot on my videos because that program that she developed saved me. And you know what? I will put myself forward on this because it saved who I am as a person, as a caregiver, as a functioning human being. Because sometimes you don't feel like it. But I found a group of people that were all part of this. She used to work in the hospitals, and basically, in a nutshell, she realized there were things that were missing for the caregiver itself. She's a geropsychologist. She used to go into the hospitals, and one day she just recognized there is a missing piece, and I'm going to fill it, but I have to create it first. And what she recognizes, Dementia Careblazers was developed as a place to share dementia tips, strategies in caregiving, information for the caregiver, for family members, caring for a loved one with all these different varieties of dementia to understand what dementia is all about. And I've been a part of them I'm working on 3 years now. Because the first year and a half year of caring for my mom, I was by myself winging it. Talk about learning on the fly. I knew what I needed. I just didn't know what any resources were. I was literally building up my life in caregiving on the fly through other people that may be caregiving for their loved ones. I knew, hey, I need to buy supplies. I need to know how to do this. I need to know how to do that. And I started to find ways of functioning. I found out that, you know, what Medicare was and what Medi-Cal was, what they offered. I found out all these things by myself. But when I found Dementia Careblazers, I don't know if I found it through YouTube or if I found her through Facebook, but she is there. And I will give you some information of how to find it. They were free. You could subscribe for free on Instagram and find dementia underscore careblazers on Instagram. And I'll put that down below. Also, there is a Careblazer Facebook page. It's facebook.com / dementia careblazers. And I'll put that down as well. But these are all places where people convene together and they help each other out. And she has a YouTube channel that is called Dementia Careblazers. She has over 200,000 subscribers. I can't even get 100. Oh, but by the way, thank you for joining me. And please like, share, and subscribe. But yeah, she's got over 200,000 subscribers. She has nearly 750 videos, and that is just on YouTube alone. That doesn't include Facebook. That doesn't include Instagram. And she's constantly putting out content, little snippets of information of scenarios that you may be going through. And really, when I found these people, I thought, oh my gosh, I found the mothership. I found the mothership that's going to help me to sanity, that's going to help me take care of my mom. She does have a Careblazer uh, curriculum. It is for a nominal fee, but the great thing about it is it has a resources galore. You can find out a care course, how to deal with these things, how to deal with things on an emotional level, on a physical level, practical guidelines. She has courses in there to help you so you can help them, your loved ones. And even though it may seem like, well, yeah, I could figure it out my own. Oh my gosh, cut through the red tape and get to where you need to be. And then every week we have support groups, and these support groups within Dementia Careblazers are all members, and we meet. I will be the first to tell you, it's like finding your family. And we all share our experiences. We all support each other. We embrace each other's journeys. We meet each other where we're at. There's so many people that are going through this that are feeling lost. And every single person that I've met from joining Dementia Careblazers has all had that same look on their face, that same desperate emotional anxiety of, I don't know what to do. I'm by myself. My family isn't stepping up, or my family is stepping up, but it's not enough. Or there's times that I'm by myself. I need help. There's so many things. I encourage you to look up Dr. Natali Edmonds. I encourage you to look up Dementia Careblazers. And I'll put it on the screen. You can find it. Look at the shorts that she puts on.
This message is for anyone who knows someone caring for someone with dementia. So basically, this message is for everyone. Check on those caregivers. Let them know you're thinking about them. Don't just ask about their loved one with dementia. Ask about how they're doing. Offer a little help. Let them know they're not forgotten. Just because they're not outwardly saying they need support or connection or that they feel lonely doesn't mean those things aren't true. Caregivers need to remember that they are way more than caregivers. Their friends, their spouses, their neighbors, their family, they matter. So today I challenge you, reach out to a caregiver in your life.
Join YouTube and subscribe to her channel. See the things that she posts almost on a daily basis. Advice. She does sometimes lives on YouTube and invites you to join the Careblazer community. It saved my soul before I lost it. They've become family in the sense that my parents are gone. I'm not left with anything, but I'm left with these people who understand the journey, who meet me where I'm at, who embrace me, who say, it's okay. We're going through this too. We've got you. And at the end, when you start feeling more confident, you find yourself saying that to them. I got you. We all need support. There's a lot of people going through this. I don't have the answers as to why, but it's happening. Don't you want the help? That's why I make these videos, to put the word out. I remember what it was like. I remember what it was like to be alone. I don't want you to be alone. It's all part of being good to yourself, right? That's what I always say. Be blessed and always be good to yourself. Take care.